The Speaker's Rooms, Washington, D.C., July 23, 2026. I hereby appoint the Honorable Mike Voss to act as Speaker pro tempore on this day. Signed, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House of Representatives.
The prayer will be offered by Chaplain Kibben.
Would you pray with me? Ever-present God, there is no place we can go from your Spirit. There is no place we find ourselves where your presence is not with us. Abide with us as the week ends and as we take our leave from this place. May the work of these last several months receive your blessing. And may the decisions in the days and weeks ahead of us remain in your keeping. We pray your wisdom in our efforts to pursue the responsibilities you have laid upon us. And we ask for your care and protection in times of rest and rejuvenation. Lord, go before us and prepare the way, so that we will be ready to respond to your guidance wherever you lead us. Lord, be with us. Encourage and embolden us that we will be capable of meeting whatever chores or challenges we encounter. Never leave or forsake us, that we will always know that we are where you want us to be, as we seek to serve both you and this country faithfully. In the sure and certain power of your name we pray. Amen.
The chair has examined the journal of the last day's proceedings and announces to the House the approval thereof. Pursuant to Clause 1 of Rule 1, the journal stands approved. The pledge of allegiance will be led by the gentlewoman from Arizona, Ms. Grijalva.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The chair will entertain up to 5 requests for 1-minute speeches on each side of the aisle. For what purpose, gentlemen from Michigan seek recognition?
I wish to speak for 1 minute.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Nigeria is the deadliest place on earth to be a Christian today. Since 2019, tens of thousands of Christians in Nigeria have been slaughtered as part of a sustained pattern of religiously motivated violence by Islamist jihadis ignored or enabled by the Nigerian government. Extremist groups like Boko Haram are allowed to operate without any meaningful response from authorities. A courageous leader named Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was convicted in a farce show trial for speaking out about what's happening. He's currently serving a life sentence in prison, convicted on false terrorism charges. I implore my colleagues to support my bill, HRES 1321, calling on the Nigerian government to conduct another trial in accordance with its own constitution, based on evidence, with access to legal counsel, medical care, and international law pertaining to humane conditions of detention, or, better yet, release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu immediately and unconditionally. America gives billions to Nigeria. We will not continue to fund a Christian genocide. We have the moral obligation to stand up so our Christian brothers and sisters can worship the Lord our God in peace. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose, gentleman from Illinois seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor Lieutenant Colonel Rosemarie Guerrero of the United States National Guard as she retires on an extraordinary career dedicated to serving our nation. Lieutenant Colonel Guerrero started her brilliant career in 1989 when she enlisted in the Illinois Air National Guard. In her current role as Cyberspace Warfare Branch Chief, she oversees a $205 million cyber mission force portfolio and provides direct guidance on mobilization, training, and resourcing and posturing for the Air National Guard cyber mission forces. At a time when Pentagon faces more than 10 million cyber intrusion attempts every single day, her work defending our country against cyber attacks has never been more important. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Guerrero, for your decades of leadership, sacrifice, and service. I wish you a happy and well-deserved retirement. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose, gentleman from Ohio seek recognition?
To address the House for 1 minute to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to congratulate the great state of Ohio, my home state, for being named the #1 state for business. As someone who owned and operated manufacturing businesses in Ohio before coming to Congress, I know firsthand that our state's greatest asset is the hardworking, resilient, and dedicated people who power Ohio's economy, build our communities, and make Ohio thrive. Ohio's #1 ranking is a testament to their commitment, and it has propelled Ohio into national leadership in economic growth and opportunity that directly benefits our workers and our families. Ohio's success didn't happen by accident. It reflects policies that encourage investment, reward innovation, and reduce unnecessary barriers to growth. When government gets out of the way, Americans do what they do best. They build their families, they grow their businesses, they create jobs and strengthen our communities. Looking ahead, I know Ohio's business leaders, our chambers of commerce, and most importantly, Ohioans themselves will continue to thrive. With God, all things are possible. That's especially true in the great state of Ohio. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose? Gentlewoman from Pennsylvania seek recognition.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Private First Class Isabella Gonzalez. First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan. Sergeant Angel Rampersad. Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton. 5 months since President Trump started this reckless war with Iran, 1 week since these young service members lost their lives. Isabella, 19, was graduated from Hebron High School in Texas last year. Her friends remember her as outgoing and how she pushed herself through boot camp and proved her bravery. Angel had a smile, her loved ones said, lit up every room she entered. She had plans to travel the world. Tyler, 25, leaves behind his family and a community at Southern Utah University. He was mere weeks away from finishing an MBA. Michael leaves behind his wife, Mia. In the last photo, Michael is holding his daughter in his arms before deployment. 18 American troops dead, more than 400 wounded, all in the name of an ill-conceived and ill-begotten war. Dropping more bombs on Iran is no way to remember these heroes. And if our president won't say their names,
Gentlewoman's
I
time
will.
has expired.
I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields back. For what purpose? Gentlewoman from Arizona seek recognition. Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to honor a remarkable Arizonan and celebrate the 100th birthday of Mr. Conrado Beto Villegas. Reaching a century of life is an extraordinary milestone, and I was honored to join Mr. Villegas' family, friends, and neighbors in Nogales to celebrate this special occasion, highlighted by him taking over the dance floor with his wife at his birthday party. Mr. Villegas is a proud World War II veteran whose courage and selfless service continue to inspire all of us. Like so many in his generation, he answered the nation's call in a time of great need, helping defend the freedoms we cherish today. His service and his life remind us of enduring values of sacrifice, resilience, and commitment to country and community. Beto, mil gracias for your service, your example, and your extraordinary legacy that you've built over the last 100 years. On behalf of the people of Arizona's 7th Congressional District, I extend my heartfelt thanks and wish you a very happy 100th birthday. Feliz cumpleaños y que Dios los bendiga. I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields back. For what purpose? The gentlewoman from New Jersey seek recognition.
Revise and extend my remarks.
The gentlewoman is, without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to honor one of the newest inductees to the New Jersey Lacrosse Hall of Fame, Mr. Matt Trevenin. A graduate of Montclair High School, he is one of the most decorated attackmen at Montclair. He was a 2-time first-team All-State selection, a 2-time U.S. Lacrosse All-American, and a 2-time New Jersey Attackman of the Year. In 1998, Mr. Trevenin was named the Star Ledger New Jersey State Player of the Year and was the first player in state history to record 2 100-point seasons. He currently still holds or shares 6 individual Montclair records. As if that wasn't enough, he went on to Princeton, where he was a 3-year starter and a member of the 2001 NCAA championship team. In 1999, he was one of 5 New Jersey players selected to the USA Lacrosse U19 national team, which captured the World Championship in Adelaide, Australia.
Gentlewoman's time has expired.
Since retiring as a player, Mr. Trevennan has dedicated himself as a coach and a leader in Glenridge, New Jersey. I rise to celebrate him. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What purpose gentleman from Illinois seek recognition?
To address the House for 1 minute and revise my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to pay tribute to Mr. Eugene Williams, a dear friend and colleague who has passed away recently. Eugene is the brother of my district director, Ms. Sharita Logan, and their family has been involved with our activities for more than 40 years. And so I simply rise to say to the family of Eugene, we thank you for your engagement, your involvement, your participation, and may you rest in peace. And I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose does the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Smith, seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to House Resolution 1438, I call up the bill H.R. 8884, the Removing Barriers to Work for Disabled Americans Act, and ask for its immediate consideration in the House.
Clerk will report the title of the bill.
Union Calendar Number 620, H.R. 8884. A bill to amend Title II of the Social Security Act to reauthorize demonstration authority for the Disability Insurance Program.
Pursuant to the House Resolution 1438, in lieu of an amendment in the nature of a substitute recommended by the Committee on Ways and Means, printed in the bill an amendment in the nature of a substitute consisting of the text of Rules Committee, print at 119-34, is adopted and the bill as amended is considered read. The bill as amended shall be debated for 1 hour, equally divided and controlled by the chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on Ways and Means, or their respective designee. The gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Smith, and the gentlewoman from California, Ms. Chu, each will control 30 minutes. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks and submit extraneous material on this bill under consideration.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of H.R. 8884, the Removing Barriers to Work for Disabled Americans Act, introduced by our colleague from Georgia, Representative Austin Scott. Many Americans that are living with disabilities want to enter the workforce and seek gainful employment. In fact, an estimated 60% of Americans who receive benefits under the Social Security Disability Insurance Program have stated a desire to return to work. And yet, less than 1% leave the Disability Insurance Program each year for a job. That is a gigantic gap between the number of disabled Americans who want to work and the number who successfully return to work. The Removing Barriers to Work for Disabled Americans Act seeks to shrink that gap by simply restoring the Social Security Administration's authority to test drive solutions that can empower more of our fellow Americans to get back to work. Up until 2022, the SSA had such authority to run demonstration projects on improving work outcomes. With that authority expired, and with so many disabled Americans still unable to successfully navigate the current program, we have to find a better way forward. In fact, some of the challenges cited for why so few DI beneficiaries successfully return to the workforce are confusing rules of the road for eligibility. That and a fear of overpayments and benefit cliffs. And just so we do not forget why we should be focused on this issue, at a hearing of the Ways and Means Social Security and Work and Welfare Subcommittees in September, we heard from a witness, a former beneficiary about how the work he found helped give his life real purpose and a different outlook. He was talking about the dignity of work, and that's what this bill will help deliver. Representative Scott has been a long time, and I would say long time, tireless champion for Purple Heart veterans. Many of them wish to return to work, but cannot afford the severe restrictions placed on their work status. I commend Mr. Scott for expanding his bill to allow the SSA's demonstration authority for so many impacted individuals, including blind Americans. He has identified a common sense solution and is fighting to see it come to pass just as it did through the Ways and Means Committee with bipartisan support. I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman from Missouri reserves. The gentlewoman from California is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, at a time when Americans are dealing with skyrocketing prices and vulnerable populations like seniors and people with disabilities are struggling to get help with their Social Security benefits because this administration has created a customer service crisis through reckless staffing cuts, it's shameful that Republicans have chosen to bring H.R. 8884 to the floor. This bill won't lower costs, won't improve customer service, and won't make it easier for people with disabilities to access the benefits they've earned. Instead, it opens the door to cutting those benefits while making SSA's customer service crisis even worse. H.R. 8884, the Removing Barriers to Work for Disabled Americans Act, aims to remove barriers to employment faced by individuals receiving Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI, benefits. It tries to do this by authorizing the Social Security Administration to conduct demonstration projects designed to test program changes that may encourage work. Let me be clear that Democrats strongly support the goal of reducing unnecessary barriers for disabled Americans who want to explore returning to work. And over the years, Democrats many times have supported giving SSA this demonstration authority. However, the bill before us today tries to accomplish this worthwhile goal in the worst possible way. Instead of protecting beneficiaries, it hands the Trump administration broad new authority to experiment with Social Security disability benefits with virtually no meaningful guardrails. First, let me be clear about what Social Security disability benefits are for. SSDI supports some of the most vulnerable Americans who have severe and long-lasting medical impairments that prevent them from being able to work at a level needed to financially support themselves. SSDI is an earned benefit, with the average beneficiary having worked and paid into the system for 22 years before becoming disabled. It also has stringent eligibility criteria. To qualify, applicants must provide extensive medical evidence and undergo a rigorous eligibility determination process. Many applicants are initially denied and must appeal, a process that often takes a year or more. Even after all levels of appeal, SSA typically finds only about 1 in 3 applicants eligible. And SSDI benefits are extremely low, at an average of about $20,000 a year. Most SSDI beneficiaries could not survive without these monthly payments, and that's why we must ensure that any potential change to the program do not put those benefits at risk. Yet this bill explicitly leaves that possibility on the table. Rather than protecting earned disability benefits, it gives the administration broad discretion to test policies that could reduce them. This isn't some abstract policy debate. Here's what this could look like in the real world. Picture this. You've been on Social Security disability for the past 10 years after a devastating car accident rendered you unable to work and support yourself. Your monthly SSDI check isn't much, but it's the reason you can pay your bills and keep food on the table. Then one day, the Social Security Administration contacts you about an opportunity that sounds promising, a demonstration program that will make it easier for you to get a part-time job while remaining on SSDI. This sounds great to you because it could mean some extra income for you and your family. So you sign up and start working, only to realize that you're no better off financially because for every dollar you make at your new job, you lose $1 in SSDI benefits. After a few months, the demands of the new job start taking a toll on your health, and it becomes clear that it isn't sustainable. You contact SSA to revoke your participation in the demonstration so that you can start receiving your full SSDI benefit amount again. But SSA doesn't reinstate your benefits right away. 2 weeks later, and you still have to call SSA's 1-800 number every day trying to get your benefits back. Every time, you're on hold for more than an hour. But even when you do go and get through to a staff member, they say there's a backlog, and no one can tell you when you'll get your check. Rent is due in a few days. You don't have the money. You feel desperate. That's exactly the kind of outcome this bill fails to protect. Here's why. The problem is simple. This bill only guarantees that an individual's total income will not be reduced due to participation in a demonstration project. That deceptive phrasing does not guarantee that your Social Security disability benefits won't be cut or reduced because you're earning money at a part-time job. These are two very different things. The empty promise of no reduction in total income leaves the administration with enormous discretion over people's earned benefits. And this isn't a hypothetical concern. The Trump administration has repeatedly tried to cut disability benefits and make it harder for disabled Americans to qualify. They've shown us exactly what they want to do given the opportunity. During the first Trump administration, President Trump repeatedly tried to throw disabled people off their benefits by making it harder to qualify and subjecting them to more frequent continuing disability reviews. He proposed a budget plan that tried to slash disability benefits by $50 billion over 10 years. And a key part of that plan was to push beneficiaries into demonstration programs. No past demonstrations had indicated that savings of any level, let alone $50 billion, could be possible without punitive measures to cut beneficiaries who can't return to work. And just last year, the Trump administration was reportedly considering a plan to eliminate age as a factor in deciding whether someone is unable to work and eligible for SSDI, which could have blocked an estimated 750,000 people from receiving benefits. Thankfully, this plan was dropped after enormous public outcry, but that shouldn't be enough to convince us that this administration isn't still gunning to slash benefits. An administration that has a track record of trying to cut Americans' earned disability benefits should not be given any new authority to conduct open-ended experiments that could reduce benefits. And this couldn't come at a worse time. Thanks to the administration cutting over 7,000 staff at Social Security, our constituents are waiting for hours on the phone and facing extremely long backlogs when trying to get their issues resolved. SSDI beneficiaries rely on their benefits every month to make ends meet. They can't afford delays or roadblocks to getting the full amount of the benefits they've earned. To make matters worse, this bill would require any new demonstration programs to be funded by SSA's operating budget, the same budget that supports the agency's customer service. In other words, this bill asks SSA to take money away from serving the public to run experiments that could jeopardize people's disability benefits. When the Ways and Means Committee marked up this bill last month, Ranking Member John Larson offered a common sense amendment that would have addressed these concerns by requiring demonstration projects to be funded not by SSA's customer service budget, but by the SSDI trust funds and by adding guardrails to what the Trump administration might do with the demonstration authority. Those guardrails included ensuring that no one would see their benefits, not just total income, but actual benefits reduced due to participation in a demonstration. The amendment would also have ensured that no demonstration could be used to deny eligibility for new SSDI applicants and would have required the SSA to provide notice and public comments on the details of any planned demonstrations. These were basic protections to ensure that people with disabilities couldn't lose their earned benefits simply for participating in a demonstration project. Yet, every Republican voted this down. If Republicans truly cared about making life better for people on Social Security disability benefits, we would be discussing bills to increase monthly benefits, fix the appeals process so people with disabilities aren't waiting years to get approved for benefits, and fix customer service at SSA by undoing this administration's disastrous staffing cuts. Instead, Republicans have brought us a bill that gives the Trump administration new authority to experiment with Social Security disability benefits while failing to protect the very people it claims to help. People with disabilities deserve certainty, not experiments with the benefits they've earned. I urge my colleagues to vote no, and Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman from California reserves. The gentleman from Missouri is recognized.
Thank you. I yield as much time as he may consume to the gentleman from Georgia, the sponsor of this legislation, Mr. Scott.
The gentleman from Georgia is recognized for as much time as he may consume.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The first thing I want to do is thank Chairman Smith and his staff for working with me to get a piece of legislation to the floor. I also want to thank my many bipartisan co-sponsors of the Purple Heart Freedom to Work Act. And I want Americans to know how this piece of legislation originated. I was taking a young man, a Marine, hunting several years ago. And that Marine stepped on a pressure plate and lost both legs. And we're having a discussion as we're in the vehicle headed to the farm that we're going to hunt, and I asked him, you know, if there were things that, you know, we could help him with. And we had a candid conversation. He said, you know, I want to go back to work, and I work at the local auto parts store, and I'd like to work more hours, but if I make $1 more than at that time, it was $1,100 a month, I lose 100% of my Social Security benefits. So here we have a young man, combat wounded, loses both legs, wants to work. And let me tell you something, if you want to help a disabled veteran, let them get out of the house and go back to work. Let them. Let them. This doesn't force anybody to do anything. It is voluntary. It is voluntary. But the idea that if a combat wounded veteran wants to go back to work and they make $1 more than some imaginary number, that their family has less money at the end of the month than they had if they didn't work is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So we wrote the Purple Heart Freedom to Work Act, and I have had broad bipartisan support for that bill, but not able to get it through and signed into law. So we went back and, under Chairman Smith's leadership and his team, looked at other ways to do this. And this authority was there up to and until 22, I believe. So President Biden had it, could have done it. Other presidents have had the ability to do it. And we're simply asking that we do the same thing, give the same authority that we've had in the past so that we can do pilot projects that doesn't force anybody to do anything, but it gives people who are currently receiving Social Security disability benefits the ability to go back to work if they voluntarily choose to and have a little more money at the end of the month instead of less. That's what it does. I don't understand the objection from the other side to allowing people to go back to work and not lose 100% of their government benefits. It is something that we as Republicans have pressed for across a wide range of benefits, is to get rid of the cliff. We're not trying to force anybody to do anything. We're simply giving people the ability to go back to work, not lose 100% of their Social Security benefits, and have more money left over at the end of the month. So after my conversation with that young man, that young Marine, that warrior, I honestly couldn't believe it. I came to D.C., I met with the lawyers, I'm like, this can't be right. This defies logic. And we went through the law, and the lawyers told me he was right. We wrote the bill, and I'm going to tell you, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that my Democratic colleagues are taking the position on the floor that they have with this. We want people to be able to go back to work. This originated, again, Marine steps on a pressure plate, loses both legs, wants to go back to work, but if they go back to work, they lose 100% of their Social Security benefits if they make $1 more than this imaginary threshold, which is not enough for them to live on. So I think this is a wonderful piece of legislation. Again, I want to go back. I want to thank the chairman and his staff for helping us find a way to solve this problem. I think the president will do a pilot project if you give him the authority that will be very close to the Purple Heart Freedom to Work Act. And you know what? Purple Heart Day is coming up August 8th and 7th or 8th. I'm close. One of those 2 days. It would have been wonderful for us to get this across the finish line and be able to do it on that day for them. But I hope my colleagues in a very bipartisan manner will support H.R. 8884, help us remove the barriers to work for disabled Americans. The same things that will work for our wounded warriors will also work for other Americans if they choose, if they want, if they voluntarily want to go back to work and make a little extra money and not lose 100% of their Social Security benefits. So originated Purple Heart Freedom to Work. I think it'll work for a lot of Americans. We as Republicans believe work is good. We know there are a lot of people that are on Social Security disability that want to go back to work. It's voluntary. They will always have more money. They will not have any less money if this is done. So again, I hope my colleagues in a very bipartisan manner will support H.R. 8884. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back to the chairman of the committee, Mr. Smith.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Missouri reserves, and the gentlewoman from California is recognized.
Well, helping Purple Heart recipients find employment is wonderful and laudable. But there is nothing in H.R. 8884 that requires SSA to test the Purple Heart Freedom to Work Act. It's not mentioned in the underlying bill at all. At a Ways and Means Committee markup, Ranking Member Larson asked the majority if SSA had shared information on what demonstration projects it had planned. They said no. Trust us. And in fact, when the bill was considered at the Rules Committee a few weeks ago, Ranking Member McGovern made a motion to add a new section to the rule that would have provided for immediate consideration of Representative Scott's Purple Heart bill on the House floor. Republicans all voted no on this motion, including Representative Scott himself. If Republicans want to do the Purple Heart bill, let's vote on that bill, not on H.R. 8884, which doesn't even mention Purple Heart recipients. And with that, I yield to the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Davis, such time as he may consume.
Gentleman from Illinois is recognized for as much time as he may consume.